Democratic Senator Mazie Hirono slammed Republicans on Friday, saying that their support of Kavanaugh showed that they don't want to hear from sexual assault survivors. Take a look.
Republicans can't deal fairly with the issue of sexual assault and the survivors. And they are saying to Dr. Ford and all those in her shoes, of which there are thousands, that one, we don't want to hear from you. Two, if we have to hear from you, we're going to rig it so that there's no FBI investigation, and we're not going to call any other witnesses.
Here to react, a survivor of sexual assault and executive director of the Moms March movement, a group that supported the confirmation of Judge Kavanaugh, Kimberly Fletcher. Kimberly, thank you for being here this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Does the fact that you support Brett Kavanaugh mean that you don't want to hear from anyone that's ever had one of these unfortunate incidents?
Actually, I completely agree with Senator Hirono that women should be heard, and we want them to be heard. The problem was, it was actually the Democrats and the media that didn't want to hear from us. Anybody that supported Kavanaugh, it didn't have anything to do with whether or not we were assaulted or we were sexually abused. It had to do with where do we stand on Judge Kavanaugh. And the media did not want to hear from us. They did not want to hear from us. So it was actually a lot of women were silenced, and it was those who supported Kavanaugh.
Another group that was silenced, or at least that Senator Hirono thought should be silenced, were men. What do you think about the idea that the left wants men basically out of the conversation? They have nothing to contribute. And how will that advance what you want to see happen on these issues?
I am the mother of 8 children, 6 sons, 2 daughters. And I have to say that I am like a lot of mothers. And our email, our Facebook page, every social media outlet has been flooded by mothers who are concerned about their sons and their husbands and what this means. But we're also concerned about our daughters. When sitting senators in the United States Senate are going to diminish the voice of women who have been affected by sexual abuse and turn it into a weapon for political gain, it diminishes the voice of every woman that has ever been or will ever be sexually assaulted or abused. And that concerns me for my daughters. And I'm very concerned about these attacks on our sons. When you can just randomly say they did something and everybody just has to believe women, all the Believe Women shirts that were flooding the whole entire Capitol area, and to believe women all the time and never believe men. I mean, that's a real problem in our culture if we're going to go there.
You know, now Justice Brett Kavanaugh was dragged through the mud, his family dragged through the mud. Do you think there is this unfortunate silver lining that this conversation has been had, that people are more aware both of sexual assault, but also the fact that people can be very unfairly accused potentially, and we should talk to our kids about that?
I think we should. We need to prepare our sons. When the vice president said that he's never in a room alone with a woman unless it's his wife, everybody made a mockery of him. Well, I'll tell you what, that's survival tactics now. Men have to be on guard all the time, and so do our sons. And I think we very much need to make sure that our sons are aware. I have a friend who, when she was looking for a college for her son, the first thing she asked was, if my son is accused or if any boy is accused, how do you handle that? Is it the campus that handles it, or is it the police? Because when the campus handles it, it's a big sham like we just saw with Judge Kavanaugh. But when the police handle it, then they handle it in the appropriate channels. That's something that, I mean, that we're in the point where we're having this kind of conversation. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, there's so many mixed messages. I have 8 kids, by the way, too. I just dropped my daughter off at college. The bathrooms in the dorms are co-ed, and in the Me Too era. So, I mean, there's so many conflicting messages, so many things for parents to be worried about. I do think that the only silver lining of the last 2 weeks is that we are having, you know, some pretty honest conversations about sexual assault.
I hope we keep having them. We need to. We need to be making sure that our children, both our sons and our daughters, are prepared for the culture that we're living in. But, you know, it's really moms like you and I, Rachel. No, nothing against the guys, but we're the ones who decide the level of standard in our culture. Wherever we set that bar, that's where it's going to go. So if we don't like where things are, we, as the mothers of this country, have the power to change it.
Kimberly, very well said. Kimberly Fletcher, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And your courage.
All right. Thank you. Justice Brett Kavanaugh starts his new job this week. So what will his lasting impact be? Well, Ken Starr is here to weigh in live.